Hello guys, welcome to TechEJ YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to discuss about the Microsoft Azure 104 exam questions. So without wasting our time, so let's move on our questions. So basically this question set contain the 30 questions. These questions are the real question which may be appear in the Azure 104 examination. So let's move on question number 1. So basically your company has several departments. Each department has a number of virtual machines. The company has an Azure subscription that contains a resource group named Resource Group 1. All VM are located in Resource Group 1. You want to associate each VM with its respective department. What should you do? So basically, we follow here the cut down strategy. It means we first of all we scan all the answers and uh, then we cut down the wrong ones. Finally we get the right one. So here our objective is basically we want to associate each VM with its respective department. So here option number A is create Azure management group for each department. So when we try to understand about Azure management groups, so Azure management groups come on top of the resource group. So this is the not right one. So we move on B, create a resource group for each department. So basically here we don't have to create a resource group for each department. Here we want just to associate each VM with its respective department. So it option number B is also not a right choice here. And when we are basically move to option number C, it says assign tags to the virtual machines. So it seems good. So basically after assigning the tag to our virtual machines, um, uh, we can associate the tags to each of our virtual machine with its respective department. Like we can say these virtual machine belong from the production department, this VM is belong from the development department, and many more. So option number C is good, and I think this is the correct option, but we have to we have to explore also option number D, because sometimes it's maybe happen one option is seems good but another option is more accurate for the given scenario. So here what option number D says, modify the settings of the virtual machines. So after modifying the virtual machine setting, we are not able to achieve our basically goal here. Here our goal is we just want to associate each VM with its respective department. So which is very much likely is here we choose option number C. So let's move on to the new question. So basically here a note is given. The question is included in the number of questions that repeat the identical setup. However, every question has a distinctive result established if the solution satisfies the requirement. So your company has an Azure Active Directory subscription. You want to implement an Azure AD conditional access policy. The policy must be configured to require member of the global administrator group to use MFA and Azure AD joint devices when they connect to Azure Active Directory from untrusted location. So basically here a solution is also given. You access the multi-factor authentication page to alter the user setting. Does the solution meet the goal? So first of all here we have to clarify our question's objective. What question is trying to create a, so basically here we want to implement an Azure AD conditional access policy, and the policy must be configured to require member of the global administrator group to use MFA and an Azure Active Directory joint devices when they connect to Azure AD from untrusted locations. So here solution is given. You access the MFA page to alter the user setting. Does this solution meet the goal? So answer is no. Why no? Because this does not able to solve this problem. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. So here is also the same question is given, but same question is given with different solution. So what is here our solution is, you access the Azure portal to alter the session control of Azure AD conditional access policy. Does the solution meet the goal? So this solution is also does not meet from our goal. Okay, why why this does not meet to our goal? Because we discuss it on further question. So here we choose simply no, because this solution does not meet from our goals. So here in question number 4 also the same question is given with a different solution. So here we have a given solution of, you access the Azure portal to alter the grant control of the Azure Active Directory conditional access policy. Does the solution meet the goal? Yes, this time solution meet from our goal, because when you access the Azure portal and we are trying to alter the grant control of the Azure Active Directory conditional access policy, then we can achieve these both goal, MFA and an Azure Active Directory joint devices. Okay, so move on to question number 5. So here option number A is correct, so we choose S. So basically question number 5, you are planning to deploy an Ubuntu server virtual machine to your company's Azure subscription. You are required to implement a custom deployment that includes adding a particular trusted root CA. Which of the following should you use to create the VM? So basically here command we have 4 commands A, B, C, D. So basically we know when we want to create a VM, then command is always started from AJVM. Okay, so here we can directly guess the right answer, the AJVM create command. So because this is a simple question, this is not a scenario based question, here just ask a question. So if you know the right answer, so we can directly choose the right one without wasting the time, because in examination time is something we have to save. So option number D is correct here. We don't have to explore these three. So move on to next question. Your company make use of MFA for when uses MFA multi-factor authentication for when users are not in the office. The per authentication option has been configured as the usage model. After the acquisition of smaller business and the addition of the new staff to the Azure AD obtains a different company and adding the new employee to Azure AD, you are informed that these employees should also make use of MFA. To achieve this, the per enabled user setting must be set for the usage model. So here we choose a solution. You configure the existing usage model by the Azure portal. Does the solution meet the goal? So simply we can say no, because The usage model cannot be changed after configuration and deployment. Okay, so let's move to next question. So here uh, your company's question number 7 is, your company's Azure solution make use of MFA for when users are not in the office. So basically question is the same, you can read it uh, by pausing this video. So here a different solution is given. You basically solution say you can reconfigure the existing usage model by the Azure CLI. So if you remember uh, in question number C, I say after deployment usage model cannot be reconfigured. So how you can use reconfigure it by Azure CLI. So here this solution also does not meet from our goal. So here we simply choose B with no. So here also same question is given. Here it's a solution. You create a new MFA provider with a backup from the existing MFA provider data. So does this solution meet the goal? Of course, this solution meet from our goal A, because here we create a new MFA provider because we are not able to change the usage model. So here we have to create a new MFA and with backup from the existing MFA provider data. So of course this solution meets from our goal. So here we choose yes. So question number 9 is, your company has an Azure Active Directory tenant named Wayland.com that is configured for hybrid coexistence with the on-premises Active Directory domain. You have a server named dir sync1 that is configured as dir sync server. You create a new user account in the on-premise Active Directory. You now need to replicate the user information to Azure Active Directory immediately. So here our requirement is basically we have to replicate the user information to Azure AD immediately. Basically here we are implemented the dir sync that is configured with the dir sync server. So here main funda is we have to replicate the user information to Azure AD immediately. So for this purpose here solution is given. You run the start AD sync cycle policy type initial PowerShell CMD late. Does the solution meet the goal? Yes, this solution meets from our goal. So we choose option number A with yes. Here question number 10 is basically your company has an Azure Active Directory tenant named Wayland.com that is configured for hybrid coexistence with on-premises Active Directory domain. So basically question is same and our objective is also same. Here we need to replicate the user information to Azure AD immediately. But here a different solution is given. So basically here solution is given. You use Active Directory sites and services to force replication of the global catalog on the domain controller. Does the solution meet the goal? We can simply say no, because we are not able to force to replicate it. Okay, so simply choose no. So question number 11 is basically your company has an Azure Active Directory tenant named Wayland.com that is configured for hybrid coexistence with the on-premises Active Directory domain. You have a server named dir sync1 that is configured as a dir sync server. You create a new user account in the on-premises Active Directory. You now need to replicate the user information to Azure Active Directory immediately. So basically this question is also similar to 9 and 10. And here a solution is given. You restart the net logon service and domain controller. Does the solution meet the goal? Of course no, because restarting the net logon service and domain controller the not replicate the user information to Azure Active Directory immediately. Okay. So here we simply choose no. Question number 12 is, so basically our company has a Microsoft Azure subscription. The company has a data center in Los Angeles and New York. You are configuring the two data centers as geo cluster site for site resiliency. You need to recommend an Azure storage redundancy option. So you have the following data storage requirement. Data must be stored on multiple nodes. So data must be stored on nodes in separate geographic location. Data can be read from the secondary location as well as from the primary location. Which of the following Azure stored redundancy options should you recommend? So basically, if we explore the four options here, so here first one is geo redundant storage. So geo redundant storage may be used, but here it also increases the more cost. So we move on to B to explore further. Here read only geo redundant storage. In option number B, read only geo redundant storage is given. So it's very closely meet from our requirements which are given here. So geo redundant storage also meet from our requirement, but it overall increases our cost. But option number B is more closely meet from our requirement, and zone redundant storage, locally redundant storage does not meet from our requirement. Okay, so here we go with option number B, read only geo redundant storage, because here data is stored on multiple nodes and data must be stored on nodes in separate geographic location. So here data is also stored on separate geographic location, and data can be read from the secondary location as well as from the primary locations. Okay. So here we discuss the question number 13. Basically, your company has an Azure subscription that includes a storage account, a resource group, a block container, and a file share. A colleague named John Ross make use of Solitary Azure Resource Manager template to deploy a VM and an additional Azure storage account. You want to review the ARM template that was used by John Ross. So here solution is given. You access the VM blade. Does the solution meet the goal? We can simply say here no, this not meet from our goal. Why? Because if you want to review the ARM template that was used by John Ross, so we have to go access the different blade, not the virtual machine blade. Virtual machine blade only provide the virtual machine related information, not the deployment related information. So here option question number 14 is also same, but here a different solution is given. You access the resource group blade. Does the solution meet the goal? This time I think solution can meet from our goal, because of here we go on resource group blade. So all the resource which is basically deployed by the ARM can be seen in the deployment section within the resource group blade. So here I choose yes. Here question number 15 is also given, and here the same question is given with different solution. So here it says you access the container blade. Does the solution meet the goal? No, container blade does not contain the deployment related ARM deployment related options. Okay, so here we simply choose B and say no. So here is the question number 16. Your company has 3 VMs that are included in an availability set. You try to resize one of the VM which return an allocation failure message. It is imperative that the VM is resized. Which of the following actions should you take? So option number A is you should only stop one of the VM. So when only we stop only one of the VM, so here we are not able to resize all the VMs, okay, because they belong from the availability set. So we move on the option number B. Here you should stop two of the VM. So this also does not meet from our requirement. And option number C, you should stop all the 3 VMs. So basically option number C I think meet from our requirement, and it also creates some downtime, but we have to avoid the downtime by following the some different strategy which we discuss in further questions. So basically here we should stop all the 3 VMs. Okay, so this seems good. So I choose the C, but we have to also explore the option number D. So here D says you should remove the necessary VM from the availability set. But when we remove, we are not able to um, basically remove the all. Did not able to remove the necessary VM from the availability set, because when we remove this from ability set, also this not meet from our requirement which this question say. So option number C is I think well suitable answer for this question. So let's explore the question number 17. So here you have an Azure VM that has a single data disk. You have been tasked to with attaching this data disk to another Azure VM. You need to make sure that your strategy allows for the virtual machine to be offline for the least amount of time possible. Which of the following is action you should take first? So here 4 option is given. Stop the VM that include the data disk. Stop the VM that the data disk must be attached to. Detach the data disk. Delete the VM that include the data disk. So here we have to very closely read this all answer. So when we stop the VM that include the data disk, so does this meet from our requirement? No, because here question is about which of the following is the action you should take first for doing this. So here we are not able to choose the stop the VM that include the data disk. Okay. So let's explore more the B option number B. Stop the VM that the data disk must be attached to. No. Detach the data disk. So I think this seems good. Detach, we can detach the data disk, but we have to explore the option number D. Delete the VM that include the data disk. So here deleting the VM that include the data disk, I think also uh, depend on the option which are enabled or disabled. But if we talk about the default options, then here let's so here we simply choose the C, detach the data disk. Okay, so let's move to the next question. Here your company has an Azure subscription. You need to deploy a number of Azure VM using the Azure ARM template. You have been informed that the VM will be included in single availability set. You are required to make sure that the ARM template you configure allows for as many VM as possible to remain accessible in the event of fabric failure or maintenance. Which of the following is the value that you should configure for the platform fault domain property? So here if this scenario is given, we choose the maximum value of platform fault domain count. Okay, so here we simply choose the max value. Okay, so here we did not have to explore it because some question may be chosen as a direct answer for minimizing the time. Okay, so here question number 19 is your company has an Azure subscription. I think question is same with here is some difference. Which of the following is the value that you should configure for the platform update domain count property? So here we always choose the maximum value. So here we choose the 40, option number D. Okay, so here a question is given for drag and drop purpose. So here let's understand the question. So basically you have to download an Azure RAM ARM template to deploy numerous virtual machines. The ARM template is based on a current VM but must be adapted to reference an administrative password. You need to make sure that the password cannot be stored in plain text. You are preparing to create the necessary component to achieve your goal. Which of the following should you create to achieve your goal? So answer by dragging the correct option from the list to the answer area. So here we have option is given for our purpose. So here our first requirement is we have to make sure the password cannot be stored in plain text. So here we can use the vault to store that, and here we have the security requirement. You are preparing to create the necessary component to achieve your goal. Which of the following should you create to achieve your goal? Okay, so basically first one is an Azure Key Vault, and second one is we have to choose an access policy for that. Okay, so here I am not able to drag and drop, but in real exam we can you can drag and drop. So here I choose an Azure Key Vault and an access policy. So let's try to explore question number 21. So here your company has an Azure Active Directory tenant that is configured for hybrid coexistence with the on-premises Active Directory domain. The on-premises virtual environment consists of VMs running on the Windows Server 2012 R2 Hyper-V host server. You have created some PowerShell script to automate the configuration of newly created VMs. You plan to create several new VMs. You need a solution that ensures the scripts are run on the new VMs. Which of the following is the best solution? So here let's try to explore the options. So option number A is configure a setup complete.cmd bash file in the percent windir /%/setup/script directory. So it's look good, but we have to explore further because we don't remember the correct choice. Okay, so configure a group policy object GPU to run the script, the logon script. So it is absolutely wrong. And option number C is configure a GPU to run the script as startup script. It seems good, but I think it does not meet from our requirement. Place the script in a new virtual hard disk. So we can place the script in a new BSD, but we are still we are not able to complete the requirement which is given above. So here option number A is seems good, and also it's closely meet from our requirement. So I choose simply option number A as the right answer for this question. So let's try to discuss question number 22. So here our company has an Azure Active Directory tenant that is configured for hybrid coexistence with on-premises Active Directory domain. You plan to deploy several new VMs in Azure. The VM will have the same operating system and custom software requirement. You configure a reference VM in the on-premises virtual environment. You then generalize the VM to create an image. You need to upload the image to Azure to ensure that it is available for selection when you create the new Azure VM. Which PowerShell CMD should you use? So here is talking about configure a reference VM in the on-premises virtual environment. You then generalize the VM to create an image. You need to upload the image to Azure to ensure that it is available for selection when you create the new Azure VMs. Which PowerShell CMD should you use? So here, if you know about the virtual hard disk drive, then here I think virtual hard disk drive are made from the question's requirement. So here we search for Azure BSD. So Azure BSD in option number B. So here we can simply choose option number B, but we have to explore the these are three options. But when you know the right answer correctly, then we have to simply choose the right ones. We don't have to explore all the answers which are options which are given. Okay, so let's move on next question. So basically this question is also drag and drop type question. So it says your company has an Azure subscription that include a number of Azure VMs which are all part of the same virtual network. Your company also has an on-premises Hyper-V server that hosts a VM named VM1 which must be replicated to Azure. Which of the following objects that must be created to achieve this goal? Answer by dragging the correct option. So it says basically we have Azure virtual machines, and all virtual machines are part of the same VNet, and our company also has an on-premises Hyper-V server that hosts a VM named VM1 which must be replicated to Azure. Which of the following objects that must be created to achieve this goal? So first option is Hyper-V site must be used, and then I think Azure Recovery Service Vault can be used, and a replication policy also must be used to accomplish this. Okay, so here we choose simply Hyper-V site and Azure Recovery Services Vault and replication policy. So question number 24 is given. It is a scenario based question. So basically it's your company Azure subscription include two Azure networks named Virtual Network A, Virtual Network B. And Virtual Network A include a VPN gateway that is configured to make use of static routing. Also a side-to-side VPN connection exists between your company's on-premises network in Virtual Network A. You have configured a point-to-side VPN connection to VNet A from a workstation running on Windows 10. After configuring VNet peering between VNet A and VNet B, you confirm that you are able to access VNet B from the company's on-premises network. However, you find that you cannot establish a connection to Virtual Network B from the Windows 10 workstation. So you have to make sure that the connection to VNet B can be established from the Windows 10 workstation. So for solving this problem, we choose a solution. You choose a allow gateway transit setting on Virtual Network A. But only allowing gateway transit setting and virtual network does not meet from our goal. So this solution does not meet from our goal, so we choose simply here no, option number B. And also the same question is given with different solution. You choose the allow gateway transit setting and virtual network B. Does the solution meet the goal? No, because we discussed. If you know about this, then here we have to simply basically just download and reinstall the VPN client configuration packages and the Windows 10 workstation. So here same question is also given with different solution. This solution says you download and reinstall the VPN client configuration package on the Windows 10 workstation. Does the solution meet the goal? Yes. Okay. So let's move to the next question. Your company has a VM hosted in Microsoft Azure. The VM are located in a single Azure VNet named VNet1. The company has users that work remotely. The remote workers require access to the VM on VNet1. You need to provide access for the remote workers. What should you do? So basically, if we are trying to explore all the options, configure site to site. So basically, there is no requirement to configure site to site because site to site for VNet to VNet connection, and configure a VNet to VNet VPN. We also does not require VNet to VNet VPN. So number C is configure a point to site P2S VPN. So here is a requirement of P2S VPN. It clearly because here we have to connect several remote users from our VNet, okay, which from our VM which is located on VNet1, okay. So we go with option number C. Further we explore the option number D and E. Configure direct access on Windows Server to the server VM. No. Configure a multi-site VPN. It's no. So here we choose option number C. So here question number 28 says your company has a Microsoft SQL Server always on availability group configured on their Azure VMs. You need to configure an Azure internal load balancer as a listener for the availability group. Solution is given. You create a HTTP health probe on port 1433. Does the solution meet the goal? We can simply say solution does not meet from our goal because it does not make any sense, okay. So say no. So here question number 29 is also same with different solution. You set session persistence to client IP. So session persistence I think is only used for persisting the session from our server. So this also does not make any sense here. So does not, this solution is also does not meet from our goal. So we choose no. And same question is given a different solution. You enable floating IP. Does the solution meet the goal? We choose yes. If you know about the floating IP, then here basically floating IP is used here for the purpose which is given in our question. So we choose yes. Okay. So that's all in this video. I try to create a new video with some different real Azure administrator questions. Okay, so that's all for this video. Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Okay.